Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Cricketing Hour. Because Bangladesh have done it at last. They've beaten Pakistan in a test match for the first time in their history. And with all the political turmoil going back in Bangladesh with the student protests and all, it's great that Najmul Hussain Shanto and his men were able to give this source of joy to their countrymen. But let's talk about the cricket here. Because Bangladesh played some really, really good cricket. They had very good tactics. They were on spot with their strategy. They were very patient. They were completely unperturbed by the things that were going on around them. They batted the entire first innings, 560 runs, 167 and a half overs. They were very patient. They felt like they had nothing to lose and they played their heart out, and that's why they got the win. Pakistan did nothing like that. And with Pakistan, this test, right from the get go, was dominated by discourse about the Rawalpindi pitch. That it's flat, that it's draw oriented, it's not the pitch they wanted. Their coach Azhar Mahmood gave a statement that said, "We did not read the pitch incorrectly, it did not play as we expected." My friend, that is exactly the definition of not reading the pitch correctly. So I have no idea who in Pakistan is running the show, what's going on there. Babar Azam, the big man, a duck in the first innings, 22 in the second innings, and his slump is really, really hurting Pakistan now because they have not won a single one of their last 9 home test matches, an unfathomable record for a full-time test nation. In fact, out of those 9, not only have they not won a single one, they've lost more than half of them. This is an abysmal home record. In test cricket especially, where you can choose your own pitch for 5 days, that's a huge advantage. That's why the home-away winning ratio has the largest difference in test cricket compared to ODI and T20 cricket. You look at Bangladesh, they've only won 2 test matches away from home in the last 7 years, one of them being this week in Rawalpindi. And Bangladesh is not one of the world's top 5 sides. In fact, although they're on a positive trajectory, the fact of the matter is they should never have won this match. Pakistan in the first innings, they batted brilliantly. And obviously there's a lot of talk about the declaration. Look, after day one, no one can see the future. When Pakistan, they saw day one had been affected by a bit of the rain, they've lost a little bit of time, it's only a 5-day game in test cricket. When they saw their 450 for 6 and 120 overs, I think it's a reasonable decision to declare at that time. Especially because you assume that the pitch is going to stay flat, you assume things are going towards a draw, and you decide to take a risk. The problem was in the second innings, they completely imploded. In the second innings, had they batted, I think there was about one session left on day 5 when the game ended. So if in the second innings they had scored even 250, which is a very below par score for this Rawalpindi pitch, they would still have escaped with a draw. And that's why I think the declaration is fine. The problem, of course, is in the second innings batting. What Shan Masood did, what really every single batsman did, apart from Rizwan, who was able to hang it around for 50 odd runs. He had a great knock in the first innings as well, 171. Rizwan is the batter in form. All the other players are not in form. Let's talk a little bit about the bowling. And bowling is where the pitch really comes into play, because before the test match, you have to choose your bowlers. You have to choose if you're going in with a seam attack, a mixed attack, a spin attack, what. Bangladesh read the pitch perfectly. They came all the way from Bengal. They took one look at the pitch and they knew who to play. They knew they had to play their spinners. Guess what? Those spinners paid off, and their spinners took 7 of the last 9 wickets excuse me, to fall on day 5 from the Pakistani batting side. Shakib played really well. There's some allegations about him going on in Bangladesh. He put all of those to the side, took those 3 crucial wickets and took his side home. Mushfiqur Rahim, the player of the match, 191. These two, Shakib and Mushfiqur, they just don't go away. They've been playing for nearly a decade and a half, more than a decade and a half now for Bangladesh. They've been carrying their side, they've been dominating proceedings, and they're still continuing to do that like the champions that they are. Let's talk a little bit about Bangladesh. In their first innings, when they scored 560, that's where they set the tone for the game. That's where they took advantage of Pakistan's declaration, and they instead took a first innings lead, a healthy first innings lead of more than 100 runs, and they put the pressure on Pakistan to survive the second innings. And of course, Pakistan completely capitulated, and Bangladesh have had a horrible year. Bangladesh 2024 has not been kind to them. They lost a series, a T20 series, to USA this year. They lost every single one of their Super 8 matches in the T20 World Cup this year. It's not been a good series for them. Even if you look at Test cricket, the last Test series they played against Sri Lanka, they were hammered in both the tests. And Pakistan, of course, they've been dismal as well. But generally, I don't think anybody had Bangladesh winning this test match outright. You probably had a draw on the cards. You maybe thought Pakistan could wrangle out a win. But a key reason Pakistan could not convert was their poor bowling attack. And the poor bowling attack, obviously, you can blame the bowlers as much as you want. You can say, sure, Shaheen should have bowled better. Naseem, of course, he gave a very fiery interview complaining about the pitch. And I completely agree with Naseem. I think Pakistan has not been utilizing their home advantage nearly as much as they should. When you can control a pitch, you should know how the pitch is going to play. You cannot have a coach coming out during a test match and say the pitch is not playing as we expected. You were the ones tasked with designing and devising what sort of a pitch to prepare to give yourself the best chance of winning the game. If you can't do that, then something is deeply fundamentally wrong within the Pakistani management system. And a key problem, of course, was the pitch has been made. Everyone knows Rawalpindi is a flat pitch. Okay. The only way you can win on a flat pitch is if on day 5 there's enough rough on the pitch. Finally, after 5 days of play, the pitch has been battered, the pitch has cracks, then maybe your spinners can grab some scalps. And they didn't even pick a spinner. Their best only spinner was Salman Ali Agha, if you even want to count him as a spinner. So a very dismal performance from Pakistan, especially on the tactical side. Obviously, the declaration at the time felt good, but with the second innings collapse, even if you have 600 on the board, if you're gonna collapse like that in the second innings, you can never be safe, Pakistan. So you need to get your batting in order. The batting, of course, is where I lay the blame. This is a flat pitch. There's nothing here to trouble the batsmen except for their own mind, except for their own technique, and that's what cost them the game. A horrible show in the second innings when previously Bangladesh got 560. They themselves got 450 for 6. And some people have been saying perhaps, declaring at that time was not best. You denied Rizwan a double century. Look, at the time, it was a good decision because you were expecting the pitch to stay flat and you were expecting your batsmen to stay sensible and bat the way they batted in the first innings, which they completely failed to do. I think let's talk about Bangladesh a little bit more because what they performed, Najmul Hussain Shanto, his captaincy, his leadership, and their president of the board just resigned. Their coach has not come, Hathuru Singhe. Their new president has come and give a statement against the coach. There's controversy surrounding Shakib, some murder case going back in Dhaka. There's political turmoil, the government, the student protests, and so on. And despite all that, they gave their country something to be happy about. The people, the families who've lost martyrs, they gave those people something to cheer for. They played like lions. They played like the Bengali tigers we expect. Pakistan did nothing of the sort. So moving on, I think what Pakistan really need to do in the long term, you can talk about, this and that, Pakistan. By the way, I really liked Najmul Hussain Shanto, the skipper. By the way, it was his birthday as well when they won the game. So the team gave him evidently the best birthday gift he could have hoped for. But I really liked he also talked about the World Test Championship in his post-match interview. And that just to me shows that Bangladesh, they're a team with ambitions now. And the fact that they're looking at the points table, they're setting goals for themselves that they want to get to such a position, they want to improve their standing in the WTC is something I really, really admire. And Pakistan, of course, I think second last, just above West Indies now on the WTC table. Absolutely abysmal, even though this cycle, really, it's not the toughest of cycles. If only our team could capitalize on that. I think what Pakistan need to do moving forward in the long term, firstly, the pitches. They need to be able to design and devise a pitch beforehand that they should know how it's going to play. It should be able to play to their strengths, and they should be able to pick a team that can take advantage of that. At this pitch, not picking a spinner was an absolute crime. Secondly, for Bangladesh, I think generally they played very strong. You can maybe critique their fast bowling wasn't really fruitful enough, but I can't really blame them for that because the pitch was really, to be honest, extremely flat and their spinners did the damage in the second innings. So I think let's see how the second test goes. I would give the advantage marginally to Pakistan if they can bounce back from this. Their batting needs to perform though. Rizwan batted well. Saud Shakil played well, but I'm not going to read too much into his innings. Granted that 141 was absolutely splendid. But the reason I'm not going to read too much into his innings is that even Imamul Haq in Rawalpindi, he used to be an absolute demon. He used to be scoring runs all over the park because this pitch is just so flat that I don't think I can adequately judge the skill level of a batsman from this pitch alone. So let's see how he performs in the coming games. And Saim Ayub, he got a half century, blunted the new ball. Good performance in the first innings. Although, again, in the second innings, no one could really hang around for too long. So, Pakistan, their batting is a massive weak point right now. Mohammad Rizwan was the only light at the end of the tunnel. Babar Azam in terrible form. Shan Masood, the skipper, in terrible form. So, let's see how things go. I'm doubtful whether removing the captaincy is going to improve Babar's form at all now, but let's see how things go. And in other news, Jay Shah of India has become the ICC chairman. So let's see how things go. I'm very intrigued to see what that means for the 2025 Champions Trophy, scheduled, of course, to be held in Pakistan. Although I personally have my doubts. I don't think India will be coming at all. And let's see if they're going to shift a few matches to the UAE, or what they're going to do, if they're going to be able to wrangle a compromise of the situation. But let's watch the situation keenly and see how it develops. So that's all from the Cricketing Hour for now, folks. Take care, and we'll see you later.